Hey folks, Ty Cohen here from KindleCashFlow.com, and I have someone that I'm super excited to talk to. I actually have two special guests. I've got a bonus guest with us today. So as many of you know, one of the things that I do is I teach people how to create a passive monthly income stream by publishing what I like to call digital real estate in the form of Amazon Kindle books. And today I've got a student of the program, Kelly Conklin, and our special guest, Carla May, her 3-year-old daughter, who is, practicing what we teach in the community and publishing her very own ebooks. If you'd like to hear more about how you can be part of a community, visit kindlecashflow.com/3 steps. And we're going to jump into this interview. But before I do so, I want to remind you that we give away some incredible prizes, like some great stuff. So here I've got an Apple Watch that we're giving away this week. I have a couple of Apple MacBook Airs, actually. These are MacBook Airs that we're giving away. So there's a rose gold one and there's a silver one there. We've got some Amazon gift cards that we are giving away. So these are in denominations of $25 to $500. And then we even have some AirPods that we're giving away. So some Apple AirPods, these are actually pretty cool. And then, last but not least, we've got some great Kindle Cash Flow swag. So we've got some book bags and things like that. So this one is Kindle Cash Flow and this one is Kindle Cash Flow Radio. Now, how do you enter to win? There's 4 ways that you can enter to win. The first is to subscribe to the channel. So whether you're watching this on YouTube or you're listening in on the Kindle Cash Flow podcast, make sure you subscribe. That's the first way. The second way that you can enter to win, and each of these actions enters you in. So the second way is you can actually go in and like, right? So you can like this content, this interview that I'm doing here with Kelly. You can share, and most importantly, please be sure to go in and comment, all right? So make sure that you go in and comment. So with that said, Kelly, I want to welcome you to the show. I'm pretty excited. I'm glad to have you here. I know that you've been part of the Kindle Cash Flow Facebook group for a while, and it's really cool to be able to connect. How are you?
I'm very excited to be here and just to tell people that this is definitely something like anybody can do. Like, I bought the program, it was over a year ago, and I didn't really do anything with it. I guess I was just thinking too much. Like, if you just think it and don't do anything, like you're not going to get anything done. So I really just started getting serious about it last month.
So you've got your 3-year-old Carly May there, right? So tell me, your mom, you've got a 3-year-old. What was your goal for getting started with Kindle Cash Flow? Like, what made you get started with it?
Right. So I had been researching for a while to try to find something like some type of work at home thing, like when she was a baby. And I just couldn't find anything. Like, there's just not a lot of like legitimate opportunities. And I could really like relate to like your first video that I saw that was in the Robert Kiyosaki thing, where you said all kinds of crazy stuff that you could try, and I couldn't find anything. And then I said, I like this Ty Cohen guy. This seems like something really cool. I want to try this. I said, it's real, you know. Amazon is real, and these other things are not, you know.
I think that's really important, the fact that Amazon is real. It's this multi-billion-dollar company, and I've tried so many different programs. And you try a lot of programs and you end up feeling like a failure sometimes. You don't get the results that you think you're after, and it ends up not working out for you, right?
Right.
Had you tried other programs in the past?
No, because there's all kinds of stuff like real estate programs and all these other programs, and I just I wasn't interested in them. It just seemed like something like I didn't want to like really do, you know, especially with real estate. Like, that's a big risk, you know.
Yeah.
But this was like so doable. Like you said, just, you know, just 25-page documents, and it's not so expensive that like it's something anybody can do.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Kelly, where do you live at? What state are you in?
I'm in Florida. I'm in Merritt Island, Florida is where I'm at.
Oh, so you're in Florida, so you're not too far from me. I'm in North Carolina, so you're on the East Coast as well. So tell me, what's your background like? Did you have like a technical background, or you know, you married? I know are you someone that you would consider to be really technical or not, or have you gone through different programs? What's your background like? So the last part I heard, I know you said you used to do table games?
Yeah, like blackjack and roulette, stuff like that.
So that's your background. So you come from the table game industry. You're now with Kindle Cash Flow. You're learning how to publish ebooks. Are you a writer? Would you consider yourself to be a writer? I know some people are writers, some people are not that are in the community. I'm technically not a writer. My first couple of ebooks I did piece together and write myself, but they weren't the greatest. Would you consider yourself to be a writer?
Oh, this part is interesting because I actually wrote all my own books that I didn't want to do it, but I said, I've just got to do a few books just to try it, right? And I didn't think that people would even read it, which is the craziest part. So I did 5 short stories that are zombie thrillers. Now, the manuscripts are not that great, but I found like really good editors on Fiverr to fix the stories to make it like a readable product. You know what I mean?
That's fascinating. So that kind of sounds like my story too. I think my first 2 books were written so long ago now I can't even remember. I had wrote myself, and I kind of like pieced them together, and then I hired an editor for about $100 or so. I think it was like $85 I paid the person to go in and clean them up and make them legible and really, you know, to make them much better. And I published those on Amazon, and to my surprise, they ended up selling. So that was pretty cool. So let me ask you a question. I know that you've had the course for a while before you jumped into it, right? Is that right?
Yeah, right.
All right. It's ironic that you said that at the very beginning, because I was just reading this book here, Atomic Habits, which you probably saw me recommend, or maybe you saw one of the guys recommended in the group. And in the chapter that I was reading today, they mentioned motion versus action, right? So motion versus action, and this is where I was at when I first got started. And that was, I was planning it out. I was thinking about everything. I'm in the moment of motion, but I didn't take any action. Did you find that was the same with you? Where you planned it out for a while, you thought about it, and then you finally jumped in, or did you just jump in once you decided to?
Yeah, I guess I was kind of planning, but I was just thinking too much and not doing anything, but just sitting about it and thinking and just kind of watching the training videos. And I guess I felt kind of lost at first, looking at this, looking at that, and then I just came up with this silly like zombie story. Again, like I didn't think anybody would even read it.
Very cool, very cool. Let me ask you, how long was it before you started to see like your first dollar? Because that's what I'm always fascinated about. I'm always fascinated to like hear, how long did it take from like when you published your book and made it available on Amazon to when you made like that first dollar? Because for me, that's the most impactful. The first dollar proves the concept and it makes it believable. So how long did it take?
So the first book, like I had a few sales within the first week, like maybe 5 or 6. And I thought that was cool because the first book was just 99 cents.
Right.
I said, people are actually reading it. So I said, well, I guess I'll keep writing this story if people are reading it. And then I finally broke down and did the book funnel thing because I didn't understand it. I didn't want to do it. I said, I've just got to pay the $10 to get in book funnel and see what it does. And then more people were reading it. And just like that, I had like 1,500 subscribers. So that was cool.
Serious? How did that
feel?
How did it feel like to know that? Because I take it you didn't writing, you haven't, like you said that your background isn't in writing it. And how did that feel like to put something up and know that people actually bought something that came from your own creative mind there?
It felt good. And not that like the books have a lot of reviews, but I like that people like will leave reviews and say that they liked it. Like I was surprised by that. Right. That was really cool.
I don't know what it feels like to give birth, but I do have 4 children. I can only imagine that creating something like whatever it is, creating an ebook and then putting it out there is like, minus the pain, right? Giving birth to, you know, a child, and you're making it available for the world to now say, look at this thing in all its glory, you know? So again, I'm not speaking from personal experience. I don't know what that feeling is like, but I mean, what would you compare that to? Like being able to create your own ebook, your own content, putting it out there. Is there anything that you can compare it to?
Yeah, like it just feels good to be accomplished. To say like I did it, you know. I wrote 5 books that people actually read and bought. Like, to know that like I did something, like I feel like I contributed something good. At least people are entertained, you know. So like, maybe it's silly, but I thought it was cool.
Very cool. How many words are your ebooks right now?
Actually, they're very short stories. Like my secret is I only do 6,000 words. That's it. Like I don't go over 6,000 words.
6,000.
And anybody could do that, because you would be surprised if you start a book, it's like just your introduction is probably like 1,000 words right there. Like when you're just explaining and introducing these characters, and then how quick it goes after that.
Yeah, that's why I love doing these interviews, because everyone has a different approach, right? Like everyone takes the program, but then they add their own twist to it, which I think is a beautiful thing. So to hear that you've got books that are 6,000 words, and my kids are publishing on Amazon too, right? I've got a 13-year-old and a 16-year-old that's publishing. So now I can I never even thought to publish 6,000 words.
Yeah, just do 6,000, try it, because you'll even still get pages, like, because you look in the short reads and you'll see like there's 29 pages. I can't remember exactly what it is for like 30-minute reads and stuff like that. That's a great place to start. I think anybody could start there.
I think so too. I think that definitely breaks down the barrier, especially if you're thinking, hey, I need all of this content, when that just disproves it, you know. So what Kelly just said is an eye-opener to me, because 6,000 words, you could probably sit down and write that in a day or 2 or 3, probably at most. And I'm not sure, but Kelly, how long does that take you to write a 6,000?
You were right. It only takes like a day or 2. And maybe like when it's done, I'll think about it for a couple days, because maybe like I want to change a character or kind of just change a little something in the story before I send it to the editor.
Gotcha. Very cool. So what's your plan for publishing a new book? What frequency? Like how often do you plan on publishing a new book now that you have like a rhythm going?
I want to do these short zombie stories. I want to do it like every other week. And I think that's pretty doable. So if I can do 1 or 2 a month,
yep,
I want to try that.
Very cool. I think you know what? I know that that's definitely possible. I'm gonna hold you accountable for that. So I'm gonna hold you in the group accountable for that. I'll send you a message every once in a while. Hey Kelly, how's that next book coming? Because I think that's important, especially when you're doing something like this, something that you may never have done before. Having an accountability partner, or having like dozens of accountability partners, or someone that you can share your dreams with, or someone that you can go in and ask questions to and get answers. I think that's super important, and that's actually what we provide in the Kindle Cash Flow community. Can you talk about like what has your experience been with the community so far? We've got just about 13,000 people that are in there. What has your experience been?
I think these people are great. They're like a family. Like if you have a question or you can't figure something out, there's always the answer. Like even if you don't want to type in and ask it, but if you search like a few keywords of your questions, someone else has asked it and you can just go through and find the answer real quick. And it's just like a really quick way to like problem solve if you can't figure something out, or maybe you're just kind of looking for an idea or just to learn things.
Gotcha, yeah. Now, let me ask you, do you think that, so one of the things that we kind of cultivate in the group is we get people to share their results, right? Whether their results are how many subscribers they have, and that could be anywhere from, hey, I got my first subscriber to my email list, or I now have 5,000 subscribers on my email list. We get them to share how much money they're making, whether it's I made my first $1, or I'm at $10 a month now, or I'm at $100 a month, or I'm at $30,000 a month. We also get them to share like page reads. Hey, I just hit like my first 100 page reads, or I've got 1 million page reads for this month. Do you think that motivates you, like to see other people that are doing this and they're doing it at different levels? What does that do for you?
Oh yeah, I love seeing that stuff, because then I think, well, they did it, I can do it too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think especially with the different angles, right? Whether it's email, list building, whether it's someone who's built up the number of page reads or the amount of money that they're making with Kindle publishing. So I want to make this interview as valuable as possible for the person that's watching or listening. So with that said, what's your process like for publishing a new book? Because again, this is something that every time I interview someone, I kind of get like a different tweak or a different system that each person has. So what's your process like from soup to nuts? How do you come up with an idea, and then how do you move forward with that book idea? Right.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
oh, no.
when I when I get like the idea for the stories, most of the time it doesn't even end how I've like imagined, like actually planned it. So I'd say like not to be like too stuck on idea, because maybe the cover looks a little different than you wanted, or the story turned out a little different. But just to do it from start to finish it and just get it done, you know, and not to get so, don't think about it too much for too long.
I think that's the biggest thing. I think we could get analysis paralysis to the point where, remember I told you in this interview, you might see me getting interested. My wife just came in actually just now. So she's like, we're having a lot of good stuff. So she's like, they're going to start drilling. Is it going to screw with your interview? But that's life. Like you have your 10-year-old on the other side. I've got, you know, my wife, and I've got some repairs that are about to start taking place here. I think that with something like this, with Kindle publishing, it allows you to live a normal life and still generate income at the same time. And that's the beautiful part of it right there. You know, that's the thing right there that
I agree. I like that, because like there's been times where like last month I did pretty good, but if she was sick and took a nap, and when she wakes up I look and see that I still sold books, right? And I didn't have to do anything at that time, you know what I mean? Or when I go to sleep and I wake up, I love like looking at my phone. I'll look at the reports to see what I got. It's like Christmas time, looking at the...
I'm glad I'm not the only one that does that, because I check my phone compulsively. I'm like, oh my God. Like I could be sitting here, right? And I would log in and I'm checking my phone. It could be at night before I'm about to go to sleep. And I'm
I do that too.
at night, and then first thing in the morning is when I'll go in and I'll check myself. So I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one. Listen, if you're watching this, I think that one of the worst things, if you want to call it a bad thing, is that you will get addicted to checking your cells every so often. I got so bad with the Kelly that in the middle of the night, I would wake up. When I first started publishing, I would wake up in the middle of the night, and my wife thought I was going to the bathroom, but I was actually going to check myself.
That's awesome.
So there is there's a little bit of craziness that comes along with it as well. So
yeah, I do that too. I'm just as guilty.
Very cool, very cool. So let me ask you a question. So one of the things that we teach in Kindle Cash Flow is how to build your audience in your email list, right? Because traditionally, when you're building up a business, like getting traffic or building up that customer database is one of the hardest things for most businesses, whether you own a brick and mortar dry cleaners business or whether you own any other type of internet marketing business. That's usually the obstacle, is like getting people to your product. Have you found that to be hard for you with Kindle publishing, or, you know, what have you found to help contribute to your success when it comes to building up your email list?
So I did the book funnel website. Like that was really helpful. I got a good amount of subscribers, and next I want to try like Amazon ads and the fake Facebook ads. And I haven't done any of that yet, but I think considering that I just used that website, that I did pretty good. And I don't give away free books. That's another thing. I said I worked too hard on these stories just to give them away for free. They could give $1, you know, the 99 cents.
Yeah, I think that 99 cents, listen, if you can't pay that, then maybe you don't need it, right? So,
right.
You know, especially if you put your hard work into it. So that's very, very cool. How big is your email list? Do you have a couple hundred people on there at least now, or?
1,500 people, like 1,500 people.
Oh, wow, okay. Hey,
yeah. And I'm surprised they actually open and read it, a good amount of them. And they'll reply back, which is cool. I like that.
That's the interesting part. I do like that. So one of the things that I do, here's a little tip, right? If you want to get better open rates and you want to make sure that your emails are actually going into the inbox and not into the spam filter, is at the very top, what I'll put in at the very top of my emails, right? When you open it up, I'll put, hey, this is such and such, whatever pen name I'm using, right? I just want to make sure that you receive this email because it's super important. Please reply back with a received, right? And I just put, you know, received in quotes. And I'll get a ton of people that will reply back, and they'll just put in, hey, I got your email, or received, or email received and read, thank you. And what that does is it lets like Google and Yahoo and all of our other email service providers know that there's a two-way communication going here. Because usually when it's only one way, it looks like spam. But if they see that
Oh,
you're
that's
sending an
interesting.
email and people are replying to that email, then it looks more likely, it looks more like an actual genuine conversation. So,
I'm so sorry, Ty. Hold on.
oh no,
Sorry.
you're good to go. You're good to go. All right. So, Carla May, what do you got going on? Hey, maybe we could show Carla. You want to introduce her to be Carla May? There you go. How's it going?
Say hi.
Hi, cutie. I remember when my 13, it was just like yesterday, my 13-year-old was 3 years old. They grew up super fast. All right. So let me know if you could still hear me also.
Yeah. Sorry. She's
Okay.
asking me for this and asking me for that.
Got it.
You know how it is.
Yep. Yeah, I totally get it. Like I said, with 4 of them, I totally get it. All right. And we're going to be wrapping up soon as well. I really appreciate you sharing your time. So you write your own content. You started with your first couple of books. You've got 5 now. You have an email list of 1,500 people, which I think is a beautiful thing, because for most people, they kind of overthink that part as well. They think that it's going to take them forever to build up their email list. So that's awesome to hear that you have 1,500 people. So now you have these digital assets, right? You've got digital real estate that makes you money 24/7. Intellectual property that you own. How does that feel?
That feels good. And I remember you said in one of your, I think it was like the first video I saw of yours, that you can pass it on to your kids, right?
Yes.
It's something that you can give them. And I thought that was really powerful.
Yeah. I spoke to Linda Allen, who's in the group, who I also interviewed last week. And Linda Allen has been publishing to Kindle for 11 years now. So she published her first Kindle book 11 years ago. She said it still makes her money to this day, which is just a beautiful thing to know that you put something out there that long ago, and longevity is just consistent. So, and if you're watching this and you want to watch Linda Allen's interview as well, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel by going to kindlecashflow.com/YouTube. And to learn how you can get started with Kindle publishing and get some free information on the entire system, go to kindlecashflow.com/3 steps, the number 3 and then steps. So kindlecashflow.com/3 steps. Okay, so now we talked about your publishing strategy. We talked about what genre you published to. Your 3rd month of publishing, how much did you make? Because I like to tell people that, it's not a get-rich-quick process, but what it is it's a get-rich-quick, slow, and stay-rich process, meaning you build it up, and then you'll start to see this curve, and then after that, the curve just continues to go. But don't think that you're going to get rich overnight in the first month or the first, 24 hours. So your 3rd month of publishing, how much did you make?
Like you said, it was like a little over $100, and that was still, I thought that was great. The books didn't cost anything to write, and I just paid an editor a few bucks to fix them. So I thought that was great.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful, because especially considering that's, let's say if you stay at $100, which you won't, right? Because you'll probably see growth there. But if you stayed at $100, that's $1,200 a year there, right? That's $2,400 over a 2-year period. So if you're looking at it long term, and again, that's at a minimum. Let's say if you stood at that $100 a month level. I think it's a beautiful thing there. So
yeah.
So you see, folks, this thing will not be record-breaking numbers right away, but it eventually snowballs into massive success, and it does so really quickly once you get up to it. I was talking to Seth Taylor as well, who's in the group. I think you're familiar with Seth, right? He posts in the group a lot. And Seth has made over $100,000 over the last 3.5 months. But when he first started, I think his first couple of months, like his 2nd month, he was only at like $75. So to see like where he started and then what's the potential, what's possible, is very, very encouraging. It's very motivating. He does about $35,000 a month right now. So $34,000 to be exact, right? So you start off small and you have the potential to continue to grow. So I want to put you on the spot really quickly before we wrap up.
Okay.
Give the viewer, the listener right now, one secret tip as relates to what you're doing with Kindle publishing that other people may not be doing.
Right. I have 2 answers to this question, actually. my first one, and this was a saying from my dad, is if you do nothing, nothing gets done. So you just have to do it. And my second secret is that, like, not to binge watch like all the training videos, because you'll just get so confused and overwhelmed with information. Just do one at a time. Like, you don't have to watch all of them to start publishing. Like, start with the research videos, and then it's helpful to see the videos to help you set up your accounts. Yeah. And then go on from there, but don't do it all at once. Not everything all at once. That
is so really, really good. I think there's someone that needed to hear that, right? Because there's that person that says, I need to go through every single video before I start. And you know, there's a saying that I have, and that is that money loves speed, right? So if you go in, you dive in, you quickly get started, then you are now putting yourself that much closer to starting to see those sales coming in. So very cool. So what's your plan, Kelly, for the future now? Are you looking to scale? Are you looking to stay where you're at? Or what's your plan?
Right. Like, I've got a bunch of stories that want to model. So now I am going to get like a ghostwriter to do that for me. Because I don't think I want to do, like, I've got a list of stuff. It's like more than I can do. Right. So now I want to outsource some of these stories. Like, I'll finish the zombie story. I'll put it in a box set and just be done with it, and just go on and do these other cool things that I found to model, like the bestsellers in these short story categories. Do the short stories. I like that.
Yeah, I like short stories too. I like those as well. My son Tyler, he publishes short stories in the romance niche, and he's 16, and it's kind of funny because he's a 16-year-old football player. He's a big guy, and I'm like, does any of your fellow teammates know that you're publishing romance novels? So hey, I know you're extremely busy, so I greatly appreciate your time. Before we wrap up, I want to ask you two final questions. Number one, what was your reason for getting started with the Kindle Cash Flow system?
Right, because the why is important, and I didn't want to be doing the casino work anymore because it's long hours and it's late. And now that I have a daughter, you know, because I can't be coming home like at 2 and 3 in the morning, I said, I've got to figure out something else. I said, I need anything that I could do, you know, that on my own time, and that's important.
I think having your daughter, because my children were with my wife too, so having a kid or children definitely puts you in a different position. And it doesn't always have to be a kid. If you're watching this and you're saying, well, hey, Ty, well, Kelly, you know, you guys have kids. I don't have a kid. It could be anything else. It could be, you know, maybe you have a parent that's getting older. Maybe you have a niece or a nephew. Maybe you have an aunt or an uncle, someone that you want to help or someone that you want to inspire, right? But I think what you just said, Kelly, about the why being important is super, super powerful. Sometimes we underestimate how important it is to have this reason why you're going to push yourself and why you're going to get something done. So thank you for making sure that you pointed that out. The second question, what would you say to the person that's watching or listening to this right now and they don't have the confidence or belief that they can do this?
I just want them to know that you can do this. Like, anybody can do it. You can do it, and please do it for yourself or doing it for your family. But you at least have to try. Like, just do a couple books, you know, just to get the hang of it. And it's going to get easier. Like, I know it's hard at first, but it does get easier the more you do it. And it'll just become a part of the process, you know.
Yeah, I think starting out is super hard with anything, right? Whether you're going to the gym or whatever it may be. I mean, being a new mom, right? Is this your first kid?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So it gets easier, all right? So knowing, like, from the very beginning, what do? You should have seen the nightmare that I was the first time I had to change a couple of diapers, especially on my daughters. It was just, I'm freaking out, like, how do I do this right? But it got easier, right? My first diaper was much different than my 50th diaper. So it definitely got a lot easier. So remember—
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, I was a total mess with that. But so remember, if you're watching or listening, be sure to subscribe to the channel or podcast. And for more free information on how you get started with Kindle publishing, visit kindlecashflow.com/3 steps. Kelly, I appreciate having you.
Thank you so much, Ty. Thank you.
Marie here. So it's very, very cool. Thank you.